Hello and welcome back to the episode of Kick Point Tour Issue. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our second ever episode. Joe, how are you, darling?
I'm all right, a bit grumpy this morning, aren't I? But we'll power through that. We'll bring some equipment and podcast magic. How about that?
I was going to ask how your weekend was, but maybe not now. Did you get up to anything fun?
No, not really. Not that I can imagine. Not that I can think of right now.
Great. Storm Cloudy has stopped me from playing golf this weekend, Joe, and I've been a bit of a weekend warrior recently, so I'm a bit gutted about that, but we move. Try the range or something, but it's not the same.
I get it. I understand. Well, get yourself 2 kids and become 42 years old and then see how much you play golf at the weekend then as well, mate. So get yourself some real problems. How about that?
I hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your kind words from the first episode, which came out last week. Really appreciate your support on that. It didn't die on its arse, Joe, and people seem to want to hear it. So we'll keep coming back. And we said last week was a barnstorming episode. I think we got a good one this week, Joe. Fitzpatrick went and won. Rory won the Order of Merit. Nelly Korda's in new irons. I've got some shoes to talk about. It's all good stuff. Where would you like to start?
Right, where should we start? Can I start on the PGA Tour, please?
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that. Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, we didn't talk too much about this. Adam Schenk. Tell me what you know about Adam Schenk. There you go. So we'll move on. So Adam Schenk was going into the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, 134th on the Order of Merit, I think. So with one event left after it to try and secure his card, he was almost done. And this guy's got some demons on the greens, FYI. So
Does he? I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah. So the headline story is that he won and he's now secured his playing rights for another 2 years, essentially. But did you know he won this event putting one-handed at times?
Missed all of this, Joe. Please inform me.
This is wild. So he's obviously he's a really strong hitter of the ball statistically, but it seriously seems to have some demons on the greens. I saw it on a post on PGA Tour. He was halfway through the round, just started putting one-handed. Then when he puts two-handed, on some putts he's gripping like right at the top end of the grip. So he's incredible. And it looks like he's got a very long putter as well. So he's incredibly upright. Yet when I saw him over a 4-footer to win the tournament, he was stooped over, almost doubled over with his hands basically off the grip at the bottom on the steel. So we've got like top of the grip, severe bottom of the grip, one-handed. Like that's
What's
one
the
of the
message?
wild.
What's the message? Like, does he do it on different length putts, or is it whatever he's feeling in the moment? He's clearly in a way.
I've not heard, but yeah, it was like when he puts because it was unbelievably windy, by the way. Wait till you see. I'm going to make you watch some of the highlights of this. Possibly the windiest I've ever seen a PGA Tour event played in. It was unbelievable. If you haven't, I'll put this down. I implore you to go and watch the 4th round highlights. Watch Adam Schenk's layup on the 17th, par 5 over water. You know, when you thought, I'm going to hit a little bunty one down there.
Yeah.
He didn't get it off the floor. He's deliberately just run it along the floor for about 180 yards. And some of the follow-throughs, the creativity required, it was absolutely amazing. But yeah, back to the message. I don't know. I think the message is he's in a bad way on the greens. He did an interview where he said, if I would love to write down all the thoughts I've had on putting over the last 10 years, it's just hilarious and terrifying in equal measure. But I just think he, particularly on that last putt, I mean, he's overshot the green. He's got a 1-shot lead. He's putted up probably 4 to 5 foot short, and it was not a natural or convincing looking setup to the ball, trying to like bobbing up and down. Some of the putts when he went one-handed, he backed off 3 or 4 times. Like, he's in a bad way. But what mental fortitude if you're in that much of a hurt locker on the greens to come out and win a PGA Tour event. Like, that would put a lot of people into retirement, let alone not winning PGA Tour events. So kudos there.
So true. That would be a message to a lot of people with less mental strength to go, you know what, maybe it's not for me anymore and I'll stop doing this. He's gone, no, I'm going to power through. I'm going to win a PGA Tour event. And you say 2 more years? 2 more years on tour for Mr. Schenk?
I think it's like, maybe I'm wrong there, because it used to be if you won, you'd get the rest of the year you were playing in and then a further year exemption. And he's obviously
so at least
won
next year, then he'll be in. We'll see more of Schenk next year.
But one thing I did want to go on this, I know we're more equipment based, but this tells me, I remember Jack Nicklaus saying that he would change his putter grip between holes depending on the break and what he was feeling. So he'd go stronger. He wouldn't reverse overlap. He would kind of adapt his putting grip to the putt he was facing, which goes very much against the kind of formulaic, you must do it like this way that we think about things today. So to see your boy Schenk one hand in it, stooping, bolt upright, that was fascinating to me.
I like the whole idea of changing it sort of mid-round as well. And putting's definitely that part of the game where you can F around and not have drastic changes, I don't think. I'm busy looking at the hole at the minute, Joe. Everything's fine.
I think they call it creative license, not generally effing around, but you know, whatever you want to go with, Dan. One more thing on Schenk. Qi4D driver in there for a
No
PGA
way!
Tour. 2017. That's a cult classic. Do you remember when we spoke to Patrick Reed? He said, I'll take that in my locker till the day I die, even though he's liking his GT3, he's still had his Qi4D in the locker. Go any chat you see about drivers and go down in the comments. Any video I tend to do about drivers on YouTube or anything like that. I'm sticking with my Qi4D, thanks. I'm sticking with my Qi4D,
Love
thanks.
it.
Maybe it's Adam Schenk commenting. Who knows?
Big Adam Schenk fan you are. I like it. Do you think Qi4D will make it into our top 25 clubs of the 21st century when we record that later this month?
The more I hear about it, it passed
Wasn't
me
in
by.
my
I never
mind.
tried it. I've never struck one. But the more I hear about it, the more I'm intrigued to do so. There's a real cult following.
We're going to record that soon. So if you didn't know already, we're going to do top 25 clubs, 21st century. Get your nominations in. We haven't decided yet, as you can tell. We have had loads of great ones in over on our Instagram and YouTube. So if you want to have your 2 pence, please do share. Joe, can we fly to Dubai now?
Yes, let's head to Dubai.
We'll be back in America in a minute to talk Nelly Korda. But Dubai, end of season, DP World Tour Championship. Matt Fitzpatrick wins, Joe. And he's now won that tournament. And I didn't know this until they said it on the final green 3 times. That individual tournament 3 times. I had no idea. He won that again. Come on to talk about his clubs in a minute. A really interesting bag. And then Rory wins the Order of Merit, which we knew was happening. And he nearly won the whole thing. Can we start the tournament itself, Joe? Because I think to make an eagle in regulation on the last and then a 6 in the playoffs is going to sting a wee bit, isn't it? Golf's such a funny game.
It's a ridiculous sport, yeah. Such a fine line, isn't it? I had Johnny Percival, our social media editor, was texting me throughout that. Are you watching this when Rory hold his eagle putt, which we know he's done quite recently at the Irish Open to get in that playoff as well. So he's got a bit of form for rolling in eagle putts to make playoffs. But yeah, just so fickle. I was highlighting when I was watching it on the 16th. So 18 under was the playoff number. Rory was 17 under going down the 16th. And he's hit this 3-wood off 16. And beautiful shot, like straight down the middle. I don't know whether he was trying to circumnavigate this bunker left or right, but it's gone straight over the centre of this bunker. And it is literally caught. You can see it pitching in the last inch of the bunker face, popping up and rolling back in. That, from where he sort of fatted it out a bit, tough pitch, made bogey. That ball carries a further inch to 2 inches. It's hitting the downslope. It's chasing down there. He's going in with a sand wedge. He's certainly not making a 5. Arguably, he's got a very good chance with a wedge in his hand of making 3 there. And that's the fine line that these tournaments are decided on, aren't they? You know, an inch more flight. Who knows?
We all want an extra inch, Joe. And I've always thought with Rory and his 3-woods that, yes, he's a very powerful player. And we can now talk about the new 3-wood in speculative terms. Again, we haven't seen the technology, the new Qi4D. And we focused on the driver last week because that made its debut. But I want to kind of lean in on the fairway woods a little bit, Joe. He hit fairway wood off that tee. Nygard Pettersson, who he was playing with, hit driver and did the same thing. It hit that lip and went in. Roy's ball speed with that 3-wood was like low 180s. It was completely absurd.
I think he was averaging, every time he pulled it out. Maybe low 180s might be a bit of an exaggeration. I saw some, maybe it isn't.
I'm sure it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure it was. I was like,
certainly saw some high 170s. I saw some 176s, 178. So yeah, maybe he did pop one out there in the low 180s. But yeah, just extraordinary speed. We can't spend this podcast talking about how good Rory is. I think people know that. We're not breaking news. Exactly breaking news there, are we? But yeah, It looks quick for sure. He's got a strong 3-wood though, just so you know. He's like 13 and a bit,
Okay.
13.75, I think it is. So it's not like a standard. It's more like a 2.5, really, a strong 3-wood. So yeah, if anything, he's slowed down.
It's pretty slow. And then he hits the 5-wood into 18 in regulation to set up the eagle. What are your first impressions of these fairway woods from the images you've seen from the likes of SMS on tour and on Getty? Anything stand out to you? Because to get him to switch not only into the driver but into a 3-wood and 5-wood this early is impressive, right? It's a good early sign.
It's a really good early sign. My first impressions, I can't wait. I'm going actually later. Is it this week or next week?
Next week.
To
No, your diary better
next
than you.
week. Thank you, mate. To get my to get fitted and try the product initially, and I'm really intrigued to see the size of 3-wood because I've seen a couple of images where there was one Rory, in particular Rory was warming up on the DP World Tour site. It's like early mornings in Dubai was the caption. He's just smacking a 3-wood off the first, and Sam Diaz and I messaged back, we're like, is that a mini driver? Because it looked so much bigger from a footprint point of view. And I've seen that a couple of times on the coverage, and they do look a little bit more sizable. So maybe there's a reaction there to the popularity or the increasing popularity of the mini drivers, and companies realizing, hang on, we can make these a bit bigger, make them a bit more user friendly. And yeah, I'd be really interested to see if that is the case, because that's what it looks like at first glance. But as you said, you noted it going into a couple more bags, right?
Yes, Tyrrell Hatton had one. Are you going to have to remind me what he had in before, if you can remember? Because I certainly can't remember.
I think he was TaylorMade still. It was either QI35 or QI10. I'm pretty sure it's 35 Hatton was in. But yeah, I saw him. He went into a HL version, 16.5 degrees. Nakajima, I think he went in as well. So yeah, it's starting to gather some momentum, and
we're only in November. That's what's really surprising me, and it's exciting. I can't wait to hear what you think about it when you see it next week. And I've got a sneaky feeling that by next week, when you probably sign something along the lines of an NDA, we might have to shut up about it for a couple of months. But hey, we'll find out, won't we? For now, we can only speculate, Joe, and I enjoy speculating with you.
Yes, we can. Just to caveat it again, it must be good, because November, like you say, they've got they could just see out the last 2-3 events of the season with what they were playing, and then do some work in the off season and bring it out when it was supposed to be brought out. So for people to have this hurried out and go, yeah, I'm just going to chuck it straight in for the last couple of events of the season, there's some very good signs there.
When there's a heck of a lot of money on the line at the end of season event. Oh, Rory, I know you've nearly won the Order of Merit. You still got to get over the line in these 2 tournaments. I'm going to put new clubs in. So he's clearly got the confidence in it, is I think what we should all be reading from this. And we'll be able to dive more into this when the product eventually launches. 2 more on Rory from me, Joe.
Go on.
All MG, have we mentioned it? All MG5 now. Like, he normally kept a sort of Vokey lob wedge in there, in and out, when he was with old TaylorMade wedges. He seems really committed to those wedges now, and that's an interesting move from TaylorMade. I've not hit these MG5s yet, but they look gorgeous. Sam loves them. And again, to get Rory's approval when he didn't have to is good signs for them, right?
Best wedges TaylorMade have ever made, I would say. Again, 95% perfect for me. Just like we discussed before on last week, if you just leave a little bit more branding off,
oh God,
I think it would look much classier. But that said, they perform, they're really soft, and yeah, Rory's obviously, he's had one of his better wedge and approach seasons of his career, I believe.
Here's one for you then, Joe. A bit of a debate for everyone to go away within the working week. A bit of water cooler chat for everybody at work. Is the year that Rory's just had, bar the Tiger Slam, the best year an individual golfer's had in the history of the game, or at least in the modern era?
Ooh, that is a tough one. I think history-wise, you'd have to chat to Fergus about that. Our history guys is probably, I think Byron Nelson had a particularly special season that people still talk about. But yeah, if we're going in the modern era, there's a really good argument to say yes. Because what do you think? You went the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. I don't think that's going to tear up any history books. But then completed the grand.
It's a nice one to have in the argument, though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, it's a nice start off a 10. But then completed the Grand Slam Players Championship, won his home Open at the Irish Open in spectacular fashion. Away Ryder Cup has now sealed the record, not record equaling. He's just passed Seve, hasn't he? On the
one behind old Monty.
One behind old Monty. So, I mean, if you'd have drawn that up at the start of the year and told him, he'd have been pretty chuffed with that. I think modern day, there's a couple of really good seasons other than Tiger. Like, for example, obviously Scotty last year won nine events. I think VJ also won 9 events in the early 2000s. But when you take that holistic approach of, like you say, away Ryder Cups, Order of Merit, Grand Slam completion, it's a good argument, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to say it is. I'm going to agree with your point then. Yes, there's more win. Like, Scheffler's 9 wins. Unbelievable. That's a dominant period of golf. The gravity of what Rory's done all in 1 year, when he's already done loads already, like, there's not a lot left for him to kind of tick off a lot of big ticks this year, and to play like he has been brilliant. So let us know what you think on that. I think it is, Joe, for me. I'm going to give it him. Love him.
Style points as well. They don't offer, like in is it in like diving and things like that? You get, or gymnastics, you get points for style.
Yeah,
you don't in golf. It's all score related. But if you got style points, Rory will be up there because it's always extravagant, isn't it? It's always like, I'm going to win the Masters by loads. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to give you a horrendous finish, actually. There's always like eagle putts on last holes. There's always drama. There's always something going on. Scheffler's a little bit more, I don't say robotic, but comprehensive, clinical, just gets job done. So maybe that doesn't resonate as much emotionally with some people potentially, but
yeah,
that's not doing him down at all.
He'd make for a terrible theme park, Scotty Scheffler. The roller coasters would all be flat. They'd be completely flat. Rory's theme park, queues out the door, mate. I'd like to go on that roller coaster, please.
Understood.
No innuendo intended. Now, should we move on to the guy who actually won the tournament this week, Joe, Matt Fitzpatrick, who, as I said earlier, has won that 3 times now, somehow. I say somehow. Why am I being so dismissive of poor Fitz? Anyway, last week we had Aaron Rye winning with a 6-7-year-old. I didn't mean to do that. I did the 6-7 meme by accident. It's a 6 or 7-year-old driver. You didn't pick up on it because you're 65 years old. But
well, I've got kids who do that.
Are they doing it? Are they doing it?
Yeah.
Did you punish them for doing it? It's annoying me.
Yeah, very much so.
I digress. Rye was winning with a 7-year-old driver. We've now got Fitzpatrick winning with 11-year-old irons, are they? Those old pings of his. Do you want to start on that? Or we have got some fantastic insight from our friends at the Titleist Tour van on some of the fittings he's got into with his new driver. So a bit of tour insight for everybody here on Tour Issue, Joe.
So first of all, go to Golf Monthly and type in Matt Fitzpatrick on YouTube. Matt Fitzpatrick, what's in the bag? So I did a what's in the bag with him. Is it last year, middle of last year? Not a lot's changed, truth be told. It's still very much.
There we go. Go watch it now.
Up to date. But yeah, so, I mean, let's just run through it quickly. So he's in a Pro V1 X 2019 ball, which is going to be, so we're talking 6 years old now as a golf ball. That doesn't get enough coverage, by the way.
Good point.
GT3, Titleist GT3 driver, A1 setting 9 degrees. His irons, as you said, 4 to 9 iron of Ping S55s, ancient things, but has been in and out, tried different things, had custom made things. Can't quite find anything that works for him as well as those, which is interesting. And then he's full bag Vokey wedges, which we've got a little bit of information on. He's got a new prototype Bettinardi putter that he's been using. So we've got a touch of driver insight, didn't we? So on our little Titleist Tour chat, we've got some notes from a session where he came in to do a bit of driver work. So I'll just read you the notes word for word. So driver, he arrived requesting to do work as he started last week playing GT2, but after round 1 went back to his TSI with a fade move. After work and face mapping, then bringing his move from -6 to -3, which will be attack angle down.
Yeah.
We glued heel more and forward to help reduce spin from a heel strike and have him see a draw from what felt like a neutral move. We also moved the SureFit setting to H2, a little bit more heel side. And the head we landed on was a GT3 9 A1 setting, heel glue forward, sole and crown.
Oh,
there you go. That's his in-depth. That's the interior workings of his driver there. So it doesn't get more in-depth than that.
And he's sneaky long, isn't he? A couple of points on him for me. Could you talk to me again about the orange Mitsubishi shaft he has in? and what makes that interesting? Because I don't feel like I see that very often. And then the putter switch we felt was a really big move. I know this happened a decent while ago now, but when we first did his What's in the Bag before you interviewed him, we spoke about that yes putter that he loved, or the yes style putter that he got better than to do. He's now out of that. I thought that was an interesting move as well. So your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, so right, so the Tensai shaft that you're talking about, Mitsubishi Orange, Tensai Orange counterbalance. So basically, there's more weight at the top end than you'd see traditionally, sort of the grip end rather than the head end. So when you see someone who has a very laggy move, which he does, so he creates a lot of wrist angle, a lot of leverage. You often see those players like a Garcia, for example, favouring counterbalance, which we know Garcia does with counter cores and stuff, because when you create that lag and leverage, if you've got too much weight at the top end, it can be very difficult to unleverage, if you like, to release that load. So when you create some weight at the top end, it just moves the balance point to allow just a little bit more of ease of, squaring up a club face, because it's very difficult for those people who've got a ton of leverage to really unload normal shafts. That's not the right way of saying it, but
I know what you're getting at. You don't see a lot of that though. There's only a few players that create enough lag to warrant a shaft like that going in.
There's a few sneaky counterbalances. So like I say, Garcia sometimes goes in a more conventional or more tip heavy shaft, but then counteracts that with the counter cores, the weights that he shoves under his grip to counterbalance the shaft himself. And you see some various counterbalance shaft offerings out on tour. But yeah, there's not that many Tensai Oranges anymore, truth be told.
And then putter. Sort of, it was more of an answer style. Now it's sort of a mid mallet, half moon shape. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the face is very similar. It's just interesting that he moved from that. It seemed like a putter he's going to be in forever.
Yeah, he'd been in the original Yes one for ages. Then Bettinardi got involved and made him a custom exact replica of that Yes putter, which he'd been in for years and years and years. I think 32 iterations of that. I spoke to him about 32 iterations to get the offset right, the top line right, lining up the flange line perfectly. So yeah, 32 iterations to get that one right, and now he's just tossed it off and moved on to a more mid mallet style one. So yeah, going in the theme that we've been speaking about of late, mallet blades. Are they dying out? There's another one that's dying out.
That's one that's bitten the dust. The only one I really saw on the television coverage for any kind of period was Ludwig, who putted quite out. He boxed a putt about 10 feet by on 60. Not that he obviously played well because he was in contention all week, but yeah, it's actually weird seeing one on the greens now. I think it's only because you've pointed it out to me that now I'm like hyper aware of it, but you really just aren't seeing them anymore. And you made this point in a podcast that's going to come out in a couple of Fridays' time. By the Masters next year, are there going to be any? Is that too big a shout?
I mean, it's a call, but like I said, I mentioned last week, you saw Ben Griffin looking around on tour thinking, I'm a decent putter, but everyone above me is using this mallet. So, and straight away he's gone and tried it, won with his first attempt. I wonder how many of these people remaining in blade style putters are not just going to be taking this look around going, oh, there's something happening here and I need to get on the train.
We got to get on Ludwig. We need a direct line to Ludwig. Get out of that thing, man. Can I do shoe chat, please, Joe?
Yeah, go on.
A very quiet Sunday morning. I thought, well, I'm going to sit down in front of most of the golf, and I was looking at everyone's feet because that's what I do. There's three I want to point out. I'll save the biggest story to the end. The first one's Rory Cantor, who was in a FootJoy Quantum, Joe, which is a very lightweight spikeless golf shoe with little to no traction. Is harsh. One of the lightest touches of a spikeless outsole I've ever seen. And he was in Hyperflex before, which is a big spiked performance-based shoe. And I just want to know what makes guys change out of these like really heavy performance shoes into these spikeless shoes. As I've said time and time again, it makes no sense to me. Why wouldn't you be in a shoe that gives you just that little bit of edge? That being said, Joe, the Quantum is the most comfortable shoe I've ever tested. It's like walking on a cloud, which isn't a great sentence because if you did walk on a cloud, you'd fall through it and die. But you see where I'm going with this, yeah, cloud-like shoe.
I do see where you're going with it. I'm guessing that's not just a hand in the air. Oh, I fancy those this week because Sam met him, our other gear tester Sandy up. I met him down at Woburn where he was doing some specific.
It's where he was testing for it, exactly. So I'm
So
like,
this isn't, it's not a whim. There's obviously something
but I need to
in
know
there.
what it is. So Laurie, give us a call, big man. And congratulations, by the way, coming off live to go and, reintegrate yourself with the DP World Tour and now get that step up onto the PGA Tour again is seriously impressive.
Seems like one of the good guys as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, really happy for him. Adidas had some new shoes on the feet of Ludwig Aberg and Tyrrell Hatton. I don't know what they are, but they were definitely new.
You literally just have spent that whole tournament looking at feet, haven't you?
Correct. Well, we've got to ham and egg this. I'll leave you with the shaft and the club stuff, and I'll go, what can I say? Shoes. I don't know what they are. They are. I've heard nothing from Adidas. I just know there's a new pair of shoes. Tyrrell has worn Code Chaos forever. So I think it might be a new Code Chaos. That is pure speculation.
Interesting.
And lastly, I was excited to talk about these. I went to go and see Under Armour in October for their new shoes, which are coming out in February, and I wasn't allowed to talk about them. However, Rasmus Nergaard Pettersson, who is an Under Armour athlete, was in them all week, and Under Armour have gone, you had a lot of TV time. We got to allow people to talk about it. So I can say the name now, Joe. The new Under Armour clone, which is what he was wearing all week. I can't say anything else other than I've tried them. Yeah, go on.
I can say that you came back very excited from that trip. You are a weirdo with shoes, but you never come back and said, this is genuinely, there's some really interesting stuff here. This could potentially be game changing. And I very rarely take you seriously, but I did there. So I'm intrigued to see, I'm really intrigued to give these a try myself.
Mate, they are amazing. I'm going to be, I don't know, they're both bright white, the ones that I've got. And with some cloudier, old RFHGC is a little bit of a bog at the minute. And I don't want to muddy them up. But when we go to Pinehurst, I'll be wearing them. And I can't wait to talk about them more. But yeah, they're cool clone. You'll see Pettersson in Nergaard Pettersson. You'll see Spieth in them soon enough whenever he's back out on the golf course. But my God, they're going to be a good shoe. So hold your horses till February, folks, because there's a shoe I think a lot of people are going to want to try.
Watch this space.
And I got some shoe chatting. Got to briefly hop over to the LPGA, Joe. The Annika was on. It's just called the Annika. Rate that. I'd love to name a tournament after myself. Yeah, won by Lynn Grant, who is also in some old ping irons. So a double win for old ping irons this week. She was in I-210, so not as old. And there's I-210s everywhere. Fitz has got an I-210 4 iron, hasn't he? Yeah. That's an iron that people still love. Ping make great irons that hang around forever is a headline that isn't
not just great irons, like we just said. Think of the G400 driver. Think of the G425 driver that Hatton's still in.
Good week for ping, actually. I'll give it. You see in newspaper columns like good week, bad week. Good week for ping. Well done, ping. And Nelly Korda's in new irons, Joe. You seen this? She's gone from MCs to CBs, Joe. It's not a huge switch in terms of sort of the actual profile of them. However, a nugget that she gave when she was interviewed about these is something I think that all of us need to pay more attention to. And Titleist actually put me onto, I don't know if it's the same for you, in our fitting earlier in the year. She wanted a bit more height, steeper descent angle, balls landing softer. That's why she's made the switch, right? And that's what the whole fitting at Titleist was, at least for me. It was all focusing on apex and launch. I was hitting my old I-230s at chest height. The fit was like, how the hell do you hold a green? She's having that thought as well. The best female player in the world right now is having that thought as well. Everybody should be. Whether you're going for a fitting or working on things in your game, get those irons higher in the air. Maybe it's tough at the minute because it's cold and windy, and actually where we live in the UK, we don't need that. I find that really interesting that the best female player in the world is thinking in these terms as well.
Yeah, I'll take your point there. I think that I'd go with a pinch of salt. I do like this peak height thing. I think you've just got to be... I wonder whether it's more tour reacting because the courses they play us, the greens are so firm, and that descent angle is critical to allow you to hold some of the most penal and firm greens there are. And we've seen that in the trend with getting 7 woods in, 9 woods in. Not only that's just a chop out of the rough club, it's to make sure and when you're going in from that 220, 230 range, that's coming down vertical as well.
Yeah.
I think it's wholly beneficial because the closer you can get your ball to stop near to your pitch mark, realistically, the more control you've got over it. You see that with Wedges, people try to do that the other way. So there's a lot of pros trying to take some spin off their wedges on certain greens because you don't want it ripping back 15 feet because that becomes very difficult to control. You also don't want a minimal amount of spin where it's going to bound on 20 feet. If the best wedge players, Wesley Bryan said this, the best wedge players, you will always see their ball within 3 foot of their pitch mark because that's how you get ultimate control. So yeah, I'd factor in. I take your point entirely, and I like the concept. But like you say, be wary of where you play. If all of a sudden you're playing on the top of a hill in South Wales and it's 80 miles per hour, and whenever you play golf, then your peak height probably isn't your friend. But in the main, I'd take your point entirely.
Good, Joe. Very good. And that is our lovely half an hour limit here, which people seem to love, by the way, less of us. What have we got coming up on Friday, Joe? We're inviting the Bryan brothers onto the podcast for What's in the Bag, which is very exciting, and some other bits as well. So that's all to come on Friday. But until then, it's for us to wish you a lovely rest of your week. Some thoughts to go away with there from an equipment perspective. Joe, got much on? Got a busy one?
Yeah, it's all busy now. It's silly season, isn't it? We've got product coming out of my...
Yeah, out of his woo-woo.
Stuff to test, stuff to review. Yeah, I've got some reviews to film actually in our new studio, which you need to look out for. The new Golf Monthly Performance Lab, which is going to create the Golf Monthly review channel. Am I allowed to plug stuff here, Dan?
Absolutely. This is a plugging machine, so that's going to be live. I keep trying to put dates on you.
Not sure, yeah. There's a few little things to iron out, but we're getting very close.
Keep your eyes peeled, though, because when it launches, we'll go hard on it, and you'll hear about it. So, yes, the Golf Monthly Performance Lab is coming soon, as is a new review channel with Joe and Sam. So, it's all very exciting. So, busy weeks. Enjoy yours. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching. We're back on Friday with the Bryan brothers. And until then, goodbye.
Bye now.